10.
Canto 10, everybody with phones, or they're going to have it up here, but Veda Base, Canto 10, Chapter 10. Canto 10, Chapter 10. We got it? They're working on it. Hare Krishna. So good to be here, and I see so many familiar faces and so many new faces too. And if you look familiar, and a lot of you, I don't remember your name, so when you come up, introduce yourself to me, and then that'll save me a lot of trouble. Remember you. So for those, what I'm about to do, this is going to be twofold. Canto 10, Chapter 10. Those who have Srimad Bhagavatam at home, how many of you have Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay. How many of you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam? Just him. Really? Everybody has Bhagavatam. All right. How many have read through a lot of it? A lot of it? How many have read all of it? Okay, those two. Oh, good. Pandit here. Good. How many have just read a tiny bit? Tiny bit. Okay, good. So what I like to do is read Bhagavatam with people, and you get to see it looks intimidating, but the more you read it, the more you like it, and the more you read it, you kind of get a taste for it. Just like certain kinds of cooking, and after a while, this is all you want to read from. So this chapter 10 is really dear to people like Apurva and me. Where did he? Oh, there he is. Because these are the last few chapters that Prabhupada translated and wrote the commentary on. So these are really rich, really special. It's like in the last few months of his life. And when these books were published, this chapter came in, the second volume? Is that right? Second volume. I've got my set at home, and I read from my old books. Oh, one thing. Who's got the oldest phone here? Anybody have a phone older than 6 years? You do. Okay. Anybody else? You've got a 6-year-old phone? How old is it? 8 years. 8 years. You guys are at a tie. Okay. And I guess we need it this loud. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, sorry. It's pretty loud on me. If you could turn the monitor down, maybe. Is there a monitor? Yeah, if you have a phone that's 8 years old, it's like, you got to be kidding. It becomes obsolete. But your Bhagavatams, my Bhagavatams were printed 50 years ago, and I'm still reading them. I'm still enjoying them, and I expect to pass them along to someone else when I'm done with them, and they will continue to work. It's really a good investment. So you've got that investment there, and the more you use it, the more valuable it's going to become. So today, we're going to read, and if we knew in advance, I would have said, bring your 10th canto, then you can start reading your book, because it gives it value. Every time you read the pages, it doesn't wear out. It just gets better, and it makes an impression on your heart. So here we go. I'll read the translation. What do we have up there? So scroll down to text 1, whoever's doing who's doing that? Oh, okay. And what's your name again? Advaita Chandra. Right, I remember you. All right, text 1. King Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O great and powerful saint, what was the cause of Nala Kuvara's and Manigreva's having been cursed by Narad Muni? What did they do that was so abominable that even Narada, the great sage, became angry at them? Kindly describe this to me. Maharaj Parikshit is surprised, because usually cursing someone, getting angry at someone, that's like an act in Tamagun. And Narad Muni is above Tamagun. So this gets discussed later on in some of the purports, that Narada Muni is not under the influence of Tamagun, mode of ignorance. This is entirely merciful. And so we're going to study some of that here. Let's see, is there a microphone that gets passed around? Do we do that here? Do we do that? I'm putting you guys through a workout. Okay, because I like to let everybody else read. I'll start. Shukdev Goswami said, okay, now he's answering his question. What was the question? Anybody remember? Okay, one at a time. Who? Raise your hand, class. We got too many people for a free-for-all. What did they do that was so abominable that Narada Muni became angry with them? What did who do? Okay, you guys know. All right. Here we go. O King Parikshit, because the two sons of Kuvera had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva, of which they were very much proud, they were allowed to wander in a garden attached to Kailash Hill on the bank of the Mandakini River. Taking advantage of this, they used to drink a kind of liquor called Varuni. Accompanied by women singing after them, they would wander in that garden of flowers, their eyes always rolling in intoxication. Okay, I just learned something this time through. I mean, I probably noticed it last time. Did anybody notice anything interesting in the verse? Something that you probably overlooked the last time you read this? Anybody? Yeah, they're associated with Lord Shiva. And how did they get that? They had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva. And what did that do to them? Made them very proud. Yeah? What if you were an associate of Lord Shiva and you walked in like, yeah. You probably wouldn't do what they're doing, but because you have some training. But somehow because of that, and also other things that Narada is going to bring up, because they had so much wealth. All right, we'll skip this purport and go. I want to cover some ground here. Next verse. You want to read the next verse?
Within the waters of the Mandakini Ganges, which were crowded with gardens of lotus flowers, the two sons of Kuvera would enjoy young girls, just like two male elephants enjoying underwater with female elephants.
Okay, and then your neighbor can read the purport. It's a brief purport, only 3 sentences. Go ahead.
People generally go to the Ganga to be purified of the effects of sinful life. But here is an example of how foolish persons enter the Ganga to become involved in sinful life. It is not that everyone becomes purified by entering the Ganga. Everything, spiritual and material, depends on one's mental condition.
Okay, that last sentence is the real surprise. Everything spiritual and material depends on one's mental condition. Anyone have any comments on that? Any examples of that? Way back there, Rishikesh, yeah, you'll just shout it really loud.
Especially in the Kumbh Mela, in the Kumbh Mela, a lot of Bollywood and all these Hollywood stars go there to dip. So, I don't know what kind of intentions they have in their mind.
Okay, Bollywood stars go to the Kumbh Mela. It's okay. And yeah, what's their intention? Okay, and it's the Ganga. All right, good. That's a good example. Anything else? Some people come to the temple just for the free food and just to see people. But that's our trick. We get them here and we keep feeding them prasad. And okay, everything spiritual and material depends on one's mental condition. And we could go off on a whole thing. Sometimes Prabhupada does do that. He says, actually, everything is spiritual. And the vision of a devotee is they see Krishna in everything. Everything is composed of Krishna's energy. So they see Krishna acting in everything, and that's one of the very last purports that Prabhupada wrote. You'll see in that video, Your Ever Well-Wisher, where Prabhupada is lying on his bed, and you can barely hear him. It's like a whisper, not even a whisper. And so underneath they write down what he's saying. Everything is acting, moving by the supreme direction of Krishna. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. And it's part of a very long, elaborate purport where Brahma saw each one of those Vishnu forms, all the cowherd boys all right, you guys know the story, right? Took away all the cowherd boys. Each one, when Brahma came there, became a Vishnu form. And then he saw each one of those Vishnu forms, all living entities, dancing around them, praising them. And then he saw all of the different energies. And in that purport, it describes those energies. Oh boy, if we had a couple hours, I would look that up right now because it's so good. Karma, impetus, anyway, all the things that get things done. And then you would think, here's someone who's barely alive, Prabhupada, writing this commentary, and he goes into elaborate detail on this elaborate verse that covers like 5 or 6 major points. He describes each of them, and I just remember how at the end he just ties it all up into a neat little package, and it's amazing how he could do that. All right, how did I get off onto that? Anyway, okay, everything is spiritual. Everything spiritual and material depends on one's mental condition. So that's our that's our instructions. Change our mental condition so that we see everything as spiritual. That's the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, text 5. Who has the microphone now? Would you like to read the translation to text 5?
O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity for the 2 boys, the great saint Devarshi Nayar once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated, with rolling eyes, he could understand their situation.
Okay, by some auspicious opportunity. They are the sons of the most wealthy Kuvera. They've got unlimited access. Imagine if someone gave you a credit card and said, here, spend as much as you want, get anything, buy a house, buy a few houses, buy anything you want, go anywhere you want, do anything you want. Here, it's unlimited. So they've got something like that, only better, because they're friends with Shiva. And they're famous. Like, they walk in and everybody's like, whoa, there's Manigreva Nalakuvara. They get to go places where nobody else gets to go. So by some auspicious opportunity. So it's a great opportunity for them, and they're going to lose everything, and they're going to become trees. So that's an auspicious opportunity. What's going on here? What are they trying to talk us into? become a tree? Anybody know how long they stayed as trees? 20,000 years. Okay. By some auspicious opportunity for the two boys, this is their big chance, they meet Narada Muni. All right, now we're going to go to the next verse. Who would like to read text 6?
Upon seeing Narad, the naked young girls of the demigods were very much ashamed. Afraid of being cursed, they covered their bodies with their garments. But the two sons of Kuvera did not do so. Instead, not caring about Narad, they remained naked.
Okay, text 7. Seeing the two sons of the demigods naked and intoxicated by opulence and false prestige, Devarshi Narada, in order to show them special mercy, desired to give them a special curse. Thus he spoke as follows. And in the purport, about halfway down, let's see. Thus the okay, well, let's just read the whole purport. It's good. Although in the beginning Narad Muni appeared very angry and cursed them, at the end, the two demigods, Nala Kuvara and Manigriva, were able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, face to face. Thus, the curse was ultimately auspicious and brilliant. Ultimately auspicious and brilliant. What does he mean by brilliant? Like, I wonder if he means like intelligent, brilliant, or just shining, beautiful. One has to judge what kind of curse Narada placed upon them. Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur gives herein a good example. When a father finds his child deeply asleep, but the child has to take some medicine to cure some disease, the father pinches the child so that the child will get up and take the medicine. In a similar way, Narada Muni cursed Nalakuvara and Manigriva in order to cure their disease of material blindness. So it's almost like an understatement, like the father pinching a child to wake him up to take medicine. So instead of pinching him, he puts him in the body of trees for 20,000 years. And Arjun trees the bark of it is medicinal, so people peel the bark off of those trees. And as trees, they're aware of what they've done. They're aware of what's going on. And they're aware someone's peeling my bark again. And they're feeling pain. And so that's a pinch. So Vishwanath Prabhupada, little understatement. Text number 8, Narada Muni said, among all the attractions of material enjoyment, the attraction of riches bewilders one's intelligence more than having beautiful bodily features, taking birth in an aristocratic family and being learned. When one is uneducated but falsely puffed up by wealth, the result is that one engages his wealth in enjoying wine, women, and gambling. And who would like to read text 9? Who's got the microphone? I guess I should just ask that. Go ahead with. Is it working?
Yeah. Unable to control their senses, rascals who are falsely proud of their riches or their worth, aristocratic families are so cruel that to maintain their perishable bodies, which they think will never grow older back, they kill poor animals without mercy. Sometimes they kill animals merely to enjoy an excursion.
Yeah, somehow animal killing comes in here. The next verse also. Someone can read text 10?
While living, one may be proud of one's body, thinking oneself a very big man, minister, president, or even demigod. But whatever one may be, after death, this body will turn either into worms, into stool, or into ashes. If one kills poor animals to satisfy the temporary whims of this body, one does not know that he will suffer in his next birth. For such a sinful miscreant must go to hell and suffer the results of his actions.
Okay, part of being wealthy, what he's driving at is you enjoy your wealth and you don't have any empathy for others. Others are suffering and you just think, kill animals? Yeah, it's fun. He mentions that. For an excursion, they go and kill animals. All right, while this body is alive, the body after all, okay, I'm going to go to text 12. Who does the body belong to? Text 13. All right, let's go to 13. Who would like to read that one? Who has the microphone?
Atheistic fools and rascals.
No, it's not working. Atheistic fools and rascals, who are very much proud of wealth, fail to see things as they are. Therefore, returning them to their poverty is the proper ointment for their eyes, so they may see things as they are. At least a poverty man can realize how painful poverty is, and therefore he will not want others to be in a painful condition like his own. And let's see. That purport. Go ahead and read text 14.
By seeing their faces, one whose body has been pricked by pins can understand the pain of others who are pinpricked. Realizing that his pain is the same for everyone, he does not want others to suffer in this way. But one who has never been pricked by pins cannot understand this pain.
Okay. Anyone here been pricked by pins? Last time we read this in our group, we brought it up and we were asking, someone brought up the question, well, has Krishna ever been pricked by pins? And, how does he know? And my wife said, yeah, he gets pricked all the time on the altar. When the pujaris are dressing, they pin the clothes on and, whoops, sorry. And, but this is interesting. By seeing their faces, one whose body has been pricked by pins can understand the pain of others who are pin-pricked. So if you've gone through something, you see somebody else suffering, you have some idea. So Narada says, these people have no experience. All they're doing is just enjoying drinking and swimming in the Ganga. They have no idea of praying for relief, for suffering. So not only are they going to be pricked by pins, they're going to have their bark peeled off. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead. Text 15. Who would like to read that?
A poverty-stricken man must automatically undergo austerities and penances because he does not have the wealth to possess anything. Thus his false prestige is vanquished. Always in need of food, shelter, and clothing, he must be satisfied with what is attained by the mercy of Providence. Undergoing such compulsory austerities is good for him because this purifies him and completely frees him from false ego.
Okay. And we'll do this purport. I'll read a little bit, and then you read a little bit. We'll go back and forth. A saintly person voluntarily accepts a state of poverty just to become free from material false prestige. Many great kings left their princely standard of living and went to the forest to practice austerity, according to Vedic culture, just to become purified. Go ahead.
But if one who cannot voluntarily accept such austerity is put into a situation of poverty, he automatically must practice austerity. Austerity is good for everyone because it frees one from material conditions. Therefore, if one is very much proud of his material position, putting him into poverty is the best way to rectify his foolishness. When a person is poverty-stricken, naturally his false pride is aristocracy. Wealth, education, and beauty is smashed. Thus, corrected, he is in the right position for liberation.
Okay. I remember when we read this before, we had a discussion, just by being poverty-stricken, is that always going to make one spiritually advance? Because in other places it says that poverty is, let's see, how does that go? When one is poverty-stricken, they can engage in all kinds of sinful acts just to survive. So yeah, sometimes poverty can cause one to break dharma. So it's not like, so that's like a doctor. He knows what medicine to prescribe. And so therefore it said, what did it say about Narada's curse was brilliant and something else? Auspicious. Auspicious and brilliant, yeah. Yeah, Narada knows what he's doing. He's good at this. Okay, continuing on, text 16. You want to read?
Always hungry, longing for sufficient food, a poverty-stricken man gradually becomes weaker and weaker. Having no extra potency, his senses are automatically pacified. A poverty-stricken man therefore is unable to perform harmful, envious activities. In other words, such a man automatically gains the results of austerities and penances adopted voluntarily by saintly persons.
Okay, so this is strong medicine to cause someone to become poverty-stricken. It's not that you use it all the time. And then Prabhupada, in the purport, is the purport open? Yeah. According to the opinion of experienced medical practitioners, diabetes as a result of voracious eating and tuberculosis is a disease of undereating. We should desire neither to be diabetic nor to be tubercular. So don't become poverty-stricken and don't become too wealthy. We should eat frugally. Yavad artha prayojanam. Where's that from? Anybody recognize that? Yavad artha prayojanam. Is that from this verse? We should eat frugally and keep the body fit for advancing in Krishna consciousness, as recommended elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. Kamasya nindriya pratir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasa nartayascheha karmavi. The real business of human life is to keep oneself fit for advancement in spiritual realization. Human life is not meant for making the senses unnecessarily strong so that one suffers from disease and one increases in an envious fighting spirit. Prabhupada's usage of words, making the senses unnecessarily strong. So there's some necessity to keep them up to some level, but if they become too strong, for some people, it can increase your envious fighting spirit. In this age of Kali, however, human civilization is so misled that people are unnecessarily increasing in economic development, and as a result, they are opening more and more slaughterhouses, liquor shops, and brothels. In this way, the whole civilization is being spoiled, okay, by too much wealth. Who wants to read 17?
Saintly persons may freely associate with those who are poverty-stricken. but not with those who are rich. A poverty-stricken man, by association with saintly persons, for he soon becomes uninterested in material desires, and the dirty things within the core of his heart are cleansed away.
Does anyone have experience of that, going on book distribution and going up to people who look like they're not very wealthy and they're a lot easier to approach than the wealthy people? Apurva has. Anybody else? Okay, everybody up here. Anybody back there? Okay, I know Rishikesh has. We all have experience. If you go out enough, you see that. Saintly persons may freely associate with those who are poverty-stricken, but not with those who are rich. To get in with the rich people, you've got to be someone like Radhanath Swami. Somehow he just gets in there and charms them. And I'm sure you've heard about him speaking to all of the bankers in Europe. There was some meeting where he was the keynote speaker. And then he came up to the microphone like he always does, real meek, and said, I don't know why I was invited to speak here. My whole life, I've never had a bank account. And they all started applauding. And then he just started talking to them about how it's human nature to want to help others. And he just got into their heart. And it's like in the beginning of the Bhagavatam when, let's see, who is it offering prayers to Shukadev Goswami? He says, he who can enter into the hearts of everyone. Oh, it's Sutta Goswami, describing Shukadev Goswami as someone who can enter into the hearts of everyone. And so when you are completely free from all of your inhibitions and you are completely just dedicated to serving Krishna, you're not touched by the modes of nature, you don't have any selfishness, you can just go right into people's hearts. So Radhanath Swami, he did that. And he talked to them and he said, yes, it's a human nature to want to give and help, and you people are the most munificent. You benefit so many people, and the whole crowd was crying, and they came up to him after and said, I want to give you some money. How much should I write out on the check? He said, I don't know what to do with it. Just, you know better than me. Use it to serve others. And then they were like, they really wanted to give him money because he didn't want to take it. And so, yeah, it doesn't mean that we don't approach wealthy people. They're suffering too. Narada Muni was approaching wealthy people. He got right in there with these two guys. I wonder how their father felt about this. Kuvera. I never read anything. Anybody read how Kuvera felt? My two sons are trees. For 20,000 years, they're still there. What did Narada do? Why did he do that? And yeah, it is a big deal. Even Maharaj Parikshit is wondering, why did he do that? That seems so out of character. Narada just usually tolerates. If somebody walks up to you naked, you curse him to be a tree for 20,000 years. That seems a bit more than a pinch, as he described it. Okay, let's see. Anything in this? Okay, I'm on 17. We read that one. We're going to look at the purport a little bit. The only business of a saintly person is this. It seems really loud to me. Is this okay? You're okay. All right. And if I'm back here, is it hard to hear? You're okay like that? You need it back there. This is okay. Okay, this is easier on me. It's too loud. The only business of a saintly person or sannyasi, a person in the renounced order, is to preach Krishna consciousness. Sadhus, saintly persons, want to preach to both the poor and the rich, but the poor take more advantage of the sadhus' preaching than the rich do. A poor man receives sadhus very quickly, offers them obeisances, and tries to take advantage of their presence, whereas a rich man keeps a big greyhound dog at his door so that no one can enter his house. He posts a sign saying, "Beware of dog," and avoids the association of saintly persons, whereas a poor man keeps his door open for them and thus benefits by their association more than a rich man does. Because Narad Muni, in his previous life, was the poverty-stricken son of a maidservant, he got the association of saintly persons and later became the exalted Narad Muni. This was his actual experience. Therefore, he is now comparing the position of a poor man with that of a rich man. All right, so we'll go to the next verse. Text 18, who would like to read that? Is microphone ready? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just waiting. Saintly persons, sadhus, think of Krishna 24 hours a day. They have no other interest. Why should people neglect association of such exalted spiritual personalities and try to associate with materialists, taking shelter of non-devotees, most of whom are proud and rich?
Why? Why should people neglect their association? Okay. Next verse.
Therefore, since the two persons drunk with liquor named Varuni or Mahadi are unable to control their senses, have been blinded by the pride of celestial opulence, and have become attached to women, I shall relieve them of their false prestige.
And the purport here, when a sadhu chastises or punishes someone, he does so not for revenge. Maharaj Parikshit had inquired why Narad Muni was subject to such a spirit of revenge, Dhamma. But this was not Dhamma. For Narad Muni, in full knowledge of what was for the good of the two brothers, wisely thought of how to cure them. Vaishnavas are good physicians. They know how to protect a person from material disease. Thus they are never in tamagun. Sagunan samatityaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Vaishnavas are always situated on the transcendental platform, the Brahman platform. They cannot be subject to mistakes or the influence of the modes of material nature. Whatever they do, after full consideration, is meant just to lead everyone back home, back to Godhead. So, we're all driven by different things, sometimes by anger, sometimes by a spirit of revenge, sometimes by desires or greed. But we're supposed to be, how did it start, the purport? When a sadhu chastises or punishes someone, he does not do so for revenge. And let's see, the previous one was about all they want to do is serve Krishna and help others come to Krishna. So that's what drives them. We don't try to get rid of desire. We're just trying to point it in the right direction. It's impossible to give up desire. Prabhupada talks about this. He says that unauthorized commentators on the Bhagavad Gita divert the mind of the reader to something which is not at all feasible. So who knows what feasible means? Possible? Yeah, something that's not at all possible. They talk about, specifically it's in that verse where Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So the unauthorized commentators say, it is not to Krishna that you should do all of these things, but you should meditate on the unborn that is within Krishna. And Prabhupada gets so furious sometimes when he's speaking on it, his lip starts trembling. And you see his leg going like this, and he just, he becomes angry. But not out of a spirit of revenge. It's like out of protecting Krishna. And what are you doing in the middle of Krishna's book saying, Krishna says this, but he really means this? Who are you? You don't know anything at all about Krishna. Krishna is only for the devotees. Only the devotees can understand Krishna. And you'll recite 2 or 3 verses from the Gita that say, this is for the devotees. Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hyeta uttamam. Is that right? Okay, good. We got pundits here. Arjun, I'm explaining this to you because you're my devotee, you're my friend, you're devoted to me. But then these people are not devotees, and they're in here explaining. So Prabhupada's getting so angry. Unauthorized commentators. They divert the mind to something which is not at all feasible. How are you going to meditate on that? The unborn within Krishna. Like it's just going to, what are you going to think of? It doesn't make sense. Everything makes sense in the Gita. It's all authorized. So that's why Prabhupada's so furious about it. I was reading Bhagavad Gita with someone who, after a while, she said, there he goes again. He's always complaining about these people. And so I said to her, well, your mother just died a couple months ago. What if you were at the funeral and the priest who's giving the eulogy started describing your mother completely inaccurately and saying all kinds of awful things about her that had nothing to do with her life? How would you feel about that? And she said, I would go right there in the middle of that thing and slug that guy. He wouldn't finish it. And so I said, that's exactly how Prabhupada feels. This is right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, the most intimate part, chapter 9, Krishna's opening his heart, saying, here's what I want you to do. And somebody comes in and says, when he says that, he really means this. And Prabhupada would raise his voice talking about it and get furious. So anyway, Prabhupada is a physician also. He knows what kind of medicine to give and to whom, how much they can take. And here we go, reading it's a big one, 20 to 22. Who wants to read that?
These 2 young men, Nalakovara and Nandriva, are by fortune the sons of the great demigod Kuvera. But because of false prestige and madness after drinking liquor, they are so firm that they are naked but cannot understand that they are. Therefore, because they are living like trees, for trees are naked but not conscious, these 2 young men should receive the bodies of trees. This will be proper punishment. Nonetheless, after they became trees and until they are released, by my mercy they will have remembrance of their past sinful activities. Moreover, by my special favor, after the expiry of 100 years by the measurement of the demigods, they will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, face to face, and thus revive their real position as devotees.
Okay, and next verse 23. Shukadeva Goswami continued, having thus spoken, the great saint Devarshi Narada returned to his ashram, known as Narayan Ashram, and Nala Kuvara and Manigriva became twin Arjun trees. Purport, Arjun trees are still found in many forests, and their skin is used by cardiologists to prepare medicine for heart trouble. This means that even though they are trees, they are disturbed when skinned for medical science. And so, let's see, I wonder if we could find that section, but when Krishna is pulling the mortar and he comes and he sees the trees, could someone find that verse where he says, what is it? Oh, there it is, 25, okay. Well, we'll just read 24 then. Go ahead. Who has you want to read it? 24.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, to fulfill the truthfulness of the word of the greatest devotee. Narada slowly went to that spot where the twin Arjuna trees were standing.
So the Sanskrit is Satyam Kartum Vacho Hari. So to Satyam, truthful, Kartum, to prove, Vacha, his words, Hari, Supreme Personality of Godhead, slowly moved toward them, and then 25. Who wants to read that? Go ahead.
Although these two young men are the sons of the very rich Kubera, and I have nothing to do with them, Devarshi Narada is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore, because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, and look at the Sanskrit for this. Devarshi me priyatamo. Priyatama, most beloved. Devarshi, the great saint, because he's dear to me. Yat imo dhanadatmajo, born of the rich father. Tat, the words of Devarshi, tatha, just so, sadhayishyami, I shall execute, because he wanted me to come face to face with the Yamal Arjun, I shall do so. Yat Gitam, as already stated, tat, that, Mahatmana, by Narada Muni. So just because he said it, I have to do it. So who's more powerful? Krishna or the devotee? Okay, sometimes it goes back and forth. Sometimes Krishna is ruled by the devotee. And let's see. Yeah, we'll read this purport. It's all really good. Nalakuvara and Manigriva actually had nothing to do with devotional service or seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. For this is not an ordinary opportunity. It is not that because one is very rich or learned or was born in an aristocratic family, one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is impossible. Okay, he's building it up. Who gets to see Krishna face to face? You can't get there. It's not an ordinary opportunity. It is not that if you're born rich or born in an aristocratic family, because Narad Muni desired that Nalakuvara and Manigriva see Vasudeva face to face, the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to fulfill the words of his very dear devotee, Narad Muni. If one seeks the favor of a devotee, instead of directly asking favors from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is very easily successful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore recommended Vaishnava Thakur Tomar Kukur Bulya Janahamuri Krishna Se Tomar Krishna Dite Par. One should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a devotee. Krishna is in the hand of a devotee. Advirlavam Atma Bhakto. Thus, without the favor of a devotee, one cannot directly approach Krishna. What to speak of engaging in his service? Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistarapaye Chekeba. Unless one becomes a servant of a pure devotee, one cannot be delivered from the material condition of life. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava society, following in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, our first business is to seek shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, Adau Gurvashraya. So in here, he quotes how many songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur. Anybody want to sing one of those? We have any Bengalis here? Not today. Okay, so that's the magic. If a devotee wants you to see Krishna, that's all it takes. And so he quotes Vaishnava Thakur, tomara kukur, one should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a devotee. Then he quotes Brahma Samhita, Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. Krishna is in the hand of a devotee. Okay, look in your hands. You got, there he is. You can give him to other people. All you have to do is wish someone you're a devotee. If you wish someone can have Krishna, then it's kind of a tug of war. How much do you love Krishna? Then you can control him. Okay, then text 26. Having thus spoken, Krishna soon entered between the two Arjun trees, and thus the big border to which he was bound turned crosswise and stuck between them. All right, and you know what happens. So, the curse of Narada, it looks like we are running out of time. If anyone has any kinds of questions or anything they want to say, there's one more little story. We're reading about Bali Maharaj and Vamandev. And so after Vamandev took everything away from Bali Maharaj is offering prayers to Vamandev, and he said, "You always favor the demons by chastising us and taking everything away from us. That's really the best benediction. The demigods, you're not really helping them. I think you really love the demons more." He said, "I'm not afraid of losing all of my wealth or going to hell or being tied up or whatever you want to do to me. But I'm afraid of not having a reputation as being your devotee. I want that to be known. Take everything away from me, but I want that people know I'm your devotee." And so when he said, "Krishna is always favoring the demons," my wife said, "Maybe we should become demons." And so we were all seriously considering it. Well, how do we go about that? And we couldn't do it. How to do that? Okay, any questions? Anything at all? How are we doing? Do you like reading Bhagavatam like this? If you do it with your book and you have a few friends together and you sit with the book, and our books are full of, I underline stuff and I fold pages over and I put bookmarks in there, and my wife used to carry the book around. We would go on a walk every day and she would carry that book and read while she's walking. And sometimes it would be raining a little bit, and anyway, our books are all beat up and torn up. They shouldn't be, but they've been around 50 years, and so we want them, we use them. You can write little notes in the margin. If somebody says something really interesting about this purport, you could write it in there. And that book will stay in your family for generations. Your grandkids are going to read those books. But you need to show them how. So, first time through, most people they're interested in how does the story go in the Bhagavatam. A lot of people just read the verses, and that's okay. Just read the verses. Just get in there. Enjoy the story. Then the next time through, you read a few more purports, and then the ones that stand out, I use a pencil, and I just put a little bracket there and underline a couple of words. And then the next time through, you read it again. It'll mean so much more. Just go through it again and again. Each time, there's going to be more stuff. Just now when I read that, it was like, oh, they were associates of Lord Shiva. I forgot all about that. So you read, and then you discuss. Like, my wife reads a lot, and then when we're together, I'll ask her, "What did you read?" and she'll tell me. And then she'll ask, what have I been reading? And so you just bring that up. It becomes your conversation. Shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam. And then after a while, it becomes the way that you think. You'll be reading stuff that you read 50 years ago. I'm like, oh, this is the way I think now, just from reading this over and over again. So that's our assignment. As we read in the beginning, material or spiritual depends on, how is that worded? Condition of our mind, something like that. One's mentality dictates whether something is material or spiritual. So you could see everything as spiritual. You could be in the most horrific place or the most boring place, waiting in a traffic jam somewhere, and you could just be smiling and happy. Okay, I think we should end here. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Good job. I don't know. Okay, like here or in the temple room?
Now here they will be having prasad.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be quiet. Maybe I should take a look for some. I need to
Yes.
mingle around.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
So I'll get some prasad, but what would you like?
I don't know. I'm gonna wander first.
Okay.
And then, yeah. Maybe I'll just take a little bit. Usually I just end up